Welcome to Confession 101 TV. Here is our new confession. I found out my fiancée was pregnant 2 weeks before our wedding. The problem wasn't the pregnancy. It was the timing. Because I hadn't even been in the same city for over 6 weeks. And the second problem, I knew exactly who the father was. It was our boss. That's when my revenge started. My name is Ethan. I'm 30 years old. And if you asked me back then, I would have told you everything in my life was exactly where it needed to be. Stable, clear, simple. I had a job I respected, a future that made sense, and someone I thought I could trust. Her name was Chloe. She was 25. We worked in the same company, same department, same floor. Nothing about it was dramatic in the beginning. No instant spark. No crazy moment. Just small things. Lunch breaks that lasted a little longer than they should. Conversations that slowly stopped being about work. Messages that didn't really need a reason. She wasn't loud. She didn't try to impress anyone. She just stayed in your mind. And I liked that. I trusted her faster than I should have. But when something feels easy, you don't question it. You don't analyze every detail. You just go with it. We moved fast. Looking back, yeah, too fast. But at the time, it felt right. We didn't fight. We didn't have those early doubts people talk about. Everything just worked. After about a year, I proposed. No hesitation. No second thoughts. I remember thinking, this is it. Simple life. Right person. No complications. That's what I believed. The business trip came right before the wedding. 3 days. That's all it was supposed to be. I didn't want to go. Not that close to everything. But I told myself it didn't matter. 3 days doesn't change anything. I was wrong. On the second night, she called me. I remember exactly where I was. Hotel room. Lights too bright. Laptop still open. A drink on the table I hadn't touched. Her name on the screen. I answered. Hey. Silence. Not normal silence. Not the kind where someone's just thinking. This one had weight. I need to tell you something. That sentence alone tells you everything is about to change. Okay, I said. Another pause. Then she said it. I'm pregnant. I didn't react. Not the way she expected. Because my mind didn't go to excitement. Didn't go to panic. It went somewhere else. Math. Dates. Timing. I had been out of the city for over 6 weeks. Before that, we barely saw each other. Work had been intense. Late nights. Different schedules. I knew exactly the last time we were together. I didn't have to think about it. And what she was telling me didn't match that. How far along? I asked. She hesitated. Just for a second. But I noticed. Almost a month. That was enough. Because now it wasn't a question anymore. Something didn't add up. I stayed quiet. She was waiting for something. A reaction. A question. Anything. Whose is it? I asked. Straight. No emotion. Silence. I could hear her breathing. Slow. Controlled. I didn't mean for this to happen. Whose is it? I repeated. And then she said it. It's Victor's. I leaned back in the chair, closed my eyes for a second. Victor. Our boss. 40 years old. Divorced. Confident in that quiet way where he doesn't need approval. The kind of man who doesn't chase anything, because things come to him. We both worked under him. And suddenly, everything made sense. The late meetings. The extra hours. The times she came home tired but still on her phone. All the small things I ignored. I opened my eyes again, and I smiled. Not because it was funny, because it finally made sense. I'll be back tomorrow, I said. And I hung up. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was heartbroken, because I was thinking, replaying everything, trying to figure out how long it had been going on, trying to understand when I missed it. But the truth is, once you know, you don't need all the details. You just see everything differently. I came back a day early. Didn't tell her. When I walked into the apartment, she was there, standing, like she had been waiting. You're back early, she said. I finished early. We sat down, across from each other, and for the first time, I really looked at her. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicking. She looked ready. She started talking, explaining, trying to make something make sense. I didn't interrupt, because none of it mattered anymore. At some point, I stood up, walked into the bedroom. opened the closet, and started packing. She didn't follow me, didn't try to stop me. That's when I knew. Not the call, not the confession. That moment. The moment she let me go without trying. That's when it was over. The wedding got canceled quietly. No big scene. No explanations. People asked questions. I didn't answer. At work, I resigned a few days later. Didn't give a reason. Didn't stay long enough for anyone to ask. I just left. And just like that, everything I thought was my future was gone. The next few weeks didn't feel real. I wasn't angry. Not at first. I was empty. Days passed, then more days. I started drinking more than I should have. Not because I wanted to forget, because there was nothing to hold on to. Everything felt flat. Until one night. I didn't even want to go out. A friend dragged me, said I needed to get out of my head. The place was loud. Too loud. Music. Lights. People moving like nothing mattered. I stood near the bar, not really looking at anything. That's when I saw her. She didn't look like she belonged there. Not because of what she was wearing, because of how she stood. Calm. Still. Like she was just watching everything. We made eye contact. Once. Then again. And that's when something felt familiar. I couldn't place it at first. But I knew I had seen her before. Not here. Somewhere else. She walked over anyway. "You look like you don't want to be here," she said. "I don't," I answered. She smiled. Sat down. "My name's Ava," she said. I nodded. But in the back of my mind, something was already starting to connect. Not fully. Not yet. Just enough to make me stay. I didn't know it at the time. But that moment was about to change everything again. I didn't leave. That's the first thing I should probably admit. I could have. I should have. But I didn't. Because the second she sat down, I already knew I wasn't walking away. Not yet. She looked at me like she wasn't trying to impress me. That was the difference. No effort, no performance. Just presence. "What are you drinking?" she asked. "Doesn't matter," I said. She smiled like she didn't like that answer. "Everything matters a little," she said. That line stuck with me. She ordered something anyway. Didn't ask again. Just decided. We sat there for a moment, not talking. But it didn't feel awkward. It felt quiet. "So," she said, "what happened?" I looked at her. "What do you mean?" She shrugged. "You don't look like someone who came here to have fun." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because she was right. "I'm fine," I said. She nodded. Didn't push. Didn't ask more. And that made me stay. Most people try to dig. Try to fix things. Try to fill the silence. She didn't. "I had a wedding," I said after a while. She looked at me. Just waited. 2 weeks before it didn't happen. She didn't react. No fake sympathy. No dramatic response. "That sucks," she said. "Simple." "Yeah," I said. "And?" she asked. "And nothing." She smiled slightly. "People don't say nothing after something like that." I looked at my drink, then back at her. "It ended for a reason," I said. She nodded. "Fair enough." And just like that, she dropped it. No pressure, no curiosity for drama. That's when I realized something. This wasn't like talking to anyone else. There was space, and I hadn't felt that in a long time. "What about you?" I asked. She shrugged. "Nothing interesting." I smirked. "You're in a club alone talking to a guy who clearly doesn't want to be here, and that's nothing interesting?" She smiled. "Depends how you look at it." I shook my head. "You always talk like that?" "Like what?" "Like everything means something." She thought about it. "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe people just don't pay attention." That line hit differently. We talked longer than I expected. About random things. Music. Travel. Work. Nothing deep, but not empty either. At some point, I realized something else. I hadn't thought about Chloe once. Not for the last 20 minutes. That alone felt strange. Eventually, she leaned back slightly, looked at me for a second longer than before. "You've seen me before, haven't you?" she said. That caught me off guard. "What?" She smiled. "Don't worry, I get that a lot." But she was wrong. Or maybe not completely. Because that feeling I had earlier, it came back. Stronger this time. Familiar. I looked at her more carefully now. The way she sat. The way she held eye contact. And then, it hit me. Not slowly. Not piece by piece. All at once. Office. Lobby. Waiting area near Victor's office. Once, maybe twice. I had seen her there. Not as someone important. Just someone passing through. I sat up slightly. No way. I looked at her again. Same face. Same eyes. And suddenly, everything lined up. Victor. Of course. Of course he had a daughter. And of course, this is how I would find out. My chest tightened. But I didn't show it. Not a single reaction. Because in that exact moment, something else happened. Something clearer than anything I had felt in weeks. My head wasn't empty anymore. It was focused. For the first time since everything fell apart, I wasn't reacting. I was thinking. And that's when the idea formed. Not fully. Not perfectly. But enough. I wasn't going to walk away from this. Not this time. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. I forced a small smile. Just tired. She studied my face for a second, like she didn't fully believe me. But she didn't push. That was her pattern. She noticed everything, but said very little. We stayed longer, talked more. And the strange part was, the more we talked, the less it felt like a plan. That scared me more than anything, because this wasn't supposed to feel real. This was supposed to be simple, but it wasn't. There was something about her. Not just how she spoke, not just how she listened. It was how calm she was. Like she wasn't trying to be anything. And I found myself watching her in between conversations. Not analyzing, just noticing. That wasn't part of the plan. At some point, she stood up. I should go, she said. Yeah, I said. But neither of us moved right away. That moment again. The one where things either end or continue. You want to get coffee sometime? I asked. She looked at me. Not surprised, not hesitant. Just thinking. Then she smiled. Sure. She took my phone, typed her number, gave it back. Don't wait too long, she said. Then she left. And just like that, the noise came back. Louder than before. I sat there for a few seconds, looking at her name. Ava. Victor's daughter. I should have walked away. That's the truth. But I didn't. Because now, this wasn't just about what happened to me. It was about what I was going to do next. And for the first time in weeks, I had direction. I had something clear. But the problem was, it didn't feel like revenge anymore. Not completely. And that's what made it dangerous. Because the more real something feels, the harder it is to control. I went home that night earlier than usual. Didn't drink more, didn't stay out. Just sat there, alone, looking at my phone, at her name, Ava. And for the first time since everything ended, I wasn't thinking about what I lost. I was thinking about what I was about to do. And I had no idea how far it was going to go. I didn't text her right away. I probably should have. But I didn't. I just stared at her name for a while. Ava. There was a time when names didn't mean anything. They were just names. People came, people went. Now, this one carried weight. Because I knew exactly who she was. And more importantly, who she was connected to. I should have stopped it there. Deleted the number. Moved on. That would have been the smart thing to do. But I didn't. Because somewhere between that night and the next morning, something changed. It wasn't just about what happened to me anymore. It was about what I was going to do with it. I texted her the next afternoon. Coffee? That was it. No long message. No explanation. She replied 10 minutes later. Thought you'd take longer. I smiled. Trying something different. Good, she wrote. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. That was it. Simple. Too simple. We met at a small place across town. Not crowded. Not loud. The kind of place where conversations actually happen. She was already there when I arrived. Sitting by the window. Looking outside. For a second, I just stood there. Watching her. No phone. No distraction. Just there. She noticed me. Smiled. You came, she said. You didn't think I would? She shrugged. You looked like someone who disappears. That hit closer than it should have. I don't disappear, I said. She tilted her head slightly. Everyone does, she said. I sat down. We ordered coffee. And just like the night before, the conversation didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like two people trying to impress each other. It felt normal. We talked about small things, then slightly bigger things. Where we grew up, what we liked, what we didn't. She didn't talk about her father much, not directly, but the way she avoided certain topics said more than anything else. You don't like him, do you? I asked at one point. She didn't look surprised. No, she said simply. Why? She looked down at her coffee. He left, she said. Left what? Everything. She didn't explain more than that. But I didn't need more. I understood enough. And that's when things started to shift. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. She wasn't just his daughter. She was someone with her own reasons, her own anger, her own story. And the more I saw that, the harder it became to treat this like a plan. We kept meeting. Not every day. Not even on a schedule. Just when it felt right. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into late conversations. And slowly, I stopped thinking about why this started. I started thinking about her. The way she listened. The way she didn't interrupt. The way she noticed things without pointing them out. It was different. Too different. And that's where the problem started. Because I was losing control of something I thought I had planned. One night we were sitting outside, just talking. Nothing serious. And she asked me something I wasn't ready for. Why did it end? I knew what she meant. My wedding. I stayed quiet for a few seconds. You ever feel like something looks perfect? But it's not, I said. She nodded. That was it, I said. She watched me. Didn't interrupt. She lied, I added. That was all I said? I didn't mention Victor. Didn't mention anything else. But she understood. People lie for a reason, she said. Yeah, I said. They do. We sat in silence for a while. And then she said something that stayed with me. Sometimes it's not about the lie, she said. It's about what they think you won't notice. That hit deeper than anything else. Because she was right. And for the first time, I realized something I didn't expect. She wasn't naive. She saw things clearly. Maybe even more clearly than I did. And that made everything more complicated. Because now, this wasn't just about getting back at someone. This was about someone real. Someone who didn't deserve to be part of this. And yet, I kept going. I didn't tell her. Not about Victor. Not about Chloe. Not about any of it. At first I told myself I would. Just not yet. Then days passed. Then weeks. And it became harder. Because the more time we spent together, the more real it became. One night she fell asleep next to me. Nothing dramatic. Just tired. And I stayed awake. Looking at her. Thinking. This wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't part of anything. And yet, here it was. Real. And I didn't know what to do with it. Because for the first time since everything fell apart, I wasn't thinking about revenge. I was thinking about her. And that scared me more than anything else. Because revenge is simple. You know what you want. You know where it ends. This didn't have a clear ending. And that's when I realized something. If I kept going, I wasn't just risking hurting him. I was risking hurting her too. And for the first time, that mattered. A few days later, she texted me. They set a date. I knew what she meant. The wedding. Victor. Chloe. I stared at the message for a while. Then I typed back, when? She sent the date. 2 weeks away. Same timeline. Different ending. I felt something shift again. Not anger. Not pain. Something clearer. Because now, everything was lining up. And I had to make a decision. Walk away. Or finish what I started. I looked at her last message again. They want me there. Of course they did. Family. Image. Perfect picture. I took a breath. And then I typed, go! She replied, only if you come with me. I stared at the screen. This was it. The moment everything could change. I could have said no. I should have said no. But I didn't. Okay, I wrote. And the second I sent that message, I knew there was no going back. Because whatever this started as, it wasn't that anymore. And whatever was coming next was going to end everything. The day came faster than I expected. It always does. One moment, it's just a date on your phone. The next, you're standing right in front of it. I didn't feel nervous. Not in the way people usually describe. It was something else. Calm. Too calm. Like everything had already been decided. Ava was quiet that morning. Not distant. Just focused. You okay? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, she said. But I knew that tone. It meant she was thinking. We didn't talk much on the way there. The drive was quiet. Not uncomfortable. Just heavy. When we pulled up, everything looked perfect. Big venue. Clean setup. People dressed like everything was exactly how it should be. Like nothing was wrong. I stepped out of the car. Took a breath. This place looked familiar. Not because I'd been there before. Because it felt like something I had already lost. Ava looked at me. Still coming? She asked. I nodded. Yeah. We walked in together. And just like that, everything slowed down. People talking, music playing, laughter. But none of it felt real. It felt like watching something from the outside. I saw him first. Victor. Standing there like nothing had ever happened. Like he hadn't taken anything from me. Then I saw her. Chloe. Dressed perfectly. Smiling like this was the life she chose. For a second, I didn't feel anything. No anger. No regret. Just distance. Ava squeezed my hand slightly. Not tight. Just enough. And that brought me back. This is where I usually leave, she said quietly. Family side. I nodded. Then she looked at me. Stay close, she said. I didn't ask what she meant. I just said, okay. We separated for a moment. She moved toward her side. I stayed back. Watching. Waiting. Everything started. Music shifted. People sat down. The ceremony was about to begin. Victor stepped forward. Chloe followed. And for a second, it looked like it was actually going to happen. Like everything was just going to go through. Like nothing I did mattered. Then Ava stood up. Not suddenly, not dramatically. Just stood. Wait, she said. Not loud, but enough. The room went quiet. Everyone turned. Victor looked confused. Ava, he said. She walked forward slowly. No hesitation. No fear. I want to introduce someone, she said. That's when I moved. Every step felt heavier than it should have. But I didn't stop. Not now. Not after everything. I walked into the center. And that's when it hit them. Victor's face changed first. Then Chloe's. Recognition. Shock. Panic. Everything at once. No one else understood what was happening. But they did. And that was enough. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Because the moment said everything. The silence broke first. Voices. Confusion. People asking questions. What's going on? Who is he? But I stayed still, looking at them. Not angry, not emotional. Just done. Victor tried to say something. I didn't listen. Chloe looked at me like she wanted to explain. I didn't care. Because this wasn't about explanations anymore. This was about truth. And now everyone could see it. The ceremony stopped. Of course it did. People stood up. Voices got louder. Chaos. But I didn't stay. Neither did Ava. She walked back to me. Took my hand. Let's go, she said. And this time, I didn't hesitate. We walked out. No looking back. No final words. Just out. The noise faded behind us. And for the first time in a long time, everything was quiet again. Real quiet. We got into the car. Sat there for a moment. Neither of us spoke. Then she looked at me. You knew, she said. Not a question. I nodded. Yeah. She didn't look surprised. I figured, she said. I waited. She looked out the window. He did the same thing to my mom, she said. That explained everything. The way she was. The way she moved. The way she didn't react. This wasn't new for her. This was familiar. And suddenly, it didn't feel like revenge anymore. It felt like something else. Something shared. "I'm sorry," I said. For the first time. Not for what I did. For what she had to carry. She looked back at me. "It's over now," she said. And I believed her. Because it was. Not just for them. For me, too. We didn't go anywhere special after that. No celebration. No big moment. Just space. And time. We kept seeing each other. Not because of what happened. In spite of it. And slowly, everything that started in the wrong place turned into something real. No lies. No hidden pieces. Just honest. Months later, we made it official. No big ceremony. No noise. Just us. And this time, it wasn't about proving anything. It was about choosing something real. So yeah, I lost everything once. But not everything stays lost. Sometimes, you just find it somewhere else. If this story reached you, and it meant something to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's grow this channel together.